Sir, stop. The security guard grabbed my arm, but I shoved him off and went straight for her desk, yanking open drawers until I found the key ring. You're insane. The principal shrieked. I'm calling the police. I ran back to the bathroom, keys jangling, leaving bloody handprints on the walls. But when I got there, the door was already open. The boys were gone, and my dear Lila was curled on the floor, her skirt torn, her lips bruised, her hair covered in white sticky liquid, and her shirt unbuttoned and bra torn. I immediately pulled out my phone to call 911, kneeling beside Lila, taking off my jacket to wrap around her, when the principal rushed in with the security guard. You assaulted me. The principal's voice was shrill. Jim, he could have killed me with that chair. I was talking to the dispatcher, one hand holding the phone, the other stroking Lila's cheek as she choked out blood and tears. The principal kept going, pacing now, gesturing wildly. You've traumatized my entire staff. She pulled out her own phone. Every student on this floor saw you acting like a maniac. That's 200 children who'll need counseling. The security guard was filming everything. This is going to be on the news. The principal continued, now talking to someone on her phone, a parent going psychotic. Destroying property. Creating an unsafe learning environment. Our insurance doesn't cover parental attacks. The superintendent is going to. Yes, hello, she suddenly interrupted herself. We have a violent intruder who threatened me with a weapon. She gave my physical description and described the premeditated assault. She never mentioned the 3 boys or why I did what I did. When the police arrived 4 minutes later, she pointed at me first. That's him. The one who attacked me. 2 officers moved toward me, while 2 more pushed past to get to Lila. The first officer put his hand on my shoulder and started guiding me away from my daughter. I tried to explain about the 3 boys, but he just said we'd talk at the station. My hands were still dripping blood from the window glass onto the bathroom floor. The paramedics rushed in with their bags and went straight to Lila, who was still curled up on the cold tiles. They started checking her over, and one of them called for a gurney. The principal was already talking loudly to another officer about how I'd gone crazy and attacked her office. She kept pointing at me and using words like violent and unstable. While Jim held up his phone to show the video he'd taken. Nobody asked about the 3 boys or why I'd been trying to get into this bathroom in the first place. The paramedics lifted Lila onto the gurney and covered her with a white sheet while she kept her eyes closed tight. I moved to follow them, but the officer blocked my path. He told me I was detained for assault and destruction of property. I watched them wheel my daughter down the hallway while I stood there helpless. The principal kept giving her statement to anyone who would listen while they put handcuffs on me right there in the hallway. Students were watching from their classroom doorways, and some had their phones out recording everything. At the station, they took me through the booking process with fingerprints and photos against the white wall. My hands were still bleeding, and they had to clean them before they could get good prints. When they finally gave me my phone call, I didn't waste it on a lawyer. I called the hospital to check on Lila, but they wouldn't tell me anything since I wasn't there in person. All they'd say was that she was examined, and I'd have to come in person for any information. I found out later that a victim advocate had met Lila at the hospital for the same exam while I was stuck in that holding cell. This woman stayed with her through the whole process and explained each step so Lila wouldn't be scared. The evidence collection took hours, with photographs and swabs and measurements, while I sat in custody not knowing what was happening.